All right, guys, we're back again. Today we got a call from a homeowner with an old American Standard toilet. They told us every time they're flushing, that it leaks from the tank. When we got there, we knew it was probably leaking from the gasket between the tank and the bowl. We asked them, do you want to replace the toilet? It is pretty old. You're wasting a lot of water, and the new toilets flush a little better. They said, no, I want to rebuild it. I like the old toilet. So we decided, okay, we'll rebuild it, and we'll go from there. So the first thing is first, we're going to take it apart. Drain the water from the tank. You could vacuum it up. Do what you got to do. Just remove all the water from inside the tank. Obviously, you need to shut the water off from the valve or from the house. Once you got that all set, you can start taking out the bolts. They come out real easy. And then you're going to start removing the gasket from the flush valve. A lot of people call it the Douglas valve. It's the same thing. Douglas valve, flush valve, whatever it is, it's your flapper mechanism. So once you take that big nut out, you loosen it up. You take it out, and that's garbage. As you can see, the gaskets are all coming apart and everything. When I took this apart, I noticed something strange about the tank, and I had to show the customer what was wrong with the tank. It looked like a little stress crack was there. It could have been from originally installing it or over time. So definitely show your customers whenever you see something like this. That way they know. If it doesn't work, you know it's on them. You gave them the option of doing a new toilet or rebuilding. This customer still decided to go to rebuild it, and eventually it does start leaking again because the stress crack obviously probably got bigger by us loosening the old Douglas valve and tightening the new one. So anyhow, in your case, for you DIYers, if you guys going to do this, just keep in mind that this might happen, and you need a backup. Either put a new toilet in there or call a professional. So anyhow, I'm going to start installing the new Douglas valve in here with the new tank to bowl gasket. Everything's going smooth so far. I'll link in the description below all the materials we use just in case you want to rebuild yours, and you don't want to replace it. So the first thing is after the Douglas valve is installed, we start tightening up the bolts. The bolts, the pattern it goes in from the top, you're gonna have a gasket. You slide the bolt through, then you're gonna have a gasket and washer and nut on the bottom. Tighten that up. Do not tighten it up super hard because you could crack the toilet, the tank. So once it's nice and snug on both sides, then you move on to the next one. On this one, we're going to rebuild the whole toilet. So we're going to put a new fill valve in there. That way he doesn't have any issues in the long run. But obviously he did, because that crack got bigger and it's just pouring all over the place. And we do have to go back there and install a new toilet now. So for you guys that don't have that crack, keep on moving on. Make sure you clean the surface area of the bowl. You do not want to have old gasket material all around the bowl, because the new gasket that you installed might not seal correctly against the toilet bowl. So clean it all up. Make sure it's nice and clean before you set the new tank in there with the new parts. Once you set the tank on top of the bowl, my secret is, you can see my left arm, I'm putting pressure down so I could squeeze that gasket while I'm tightening the nuts by hand. I do it by hand first as much as I can. Then I grab some channels and you start tightening up each side little by little. Do not crank it, because you will crack the tank or the bowl. So little by little, equally on both sides, tighten it up. That way the tank goes equally leveled down at the correct distance on both sides. And meanwhile you're tightening, you want to check the tank to see if it's wobbling. Once it stops wobbling, you're good to go. Do not tighten it anymore, because that's all you needed to do. Make sure the tank's not wobbling. After that, connect the supply line back on there and turn the water on. If you replace the fill valve, you do have to adjust everything. I didn't do it in this video, but I'll do it in a future video. If you live in North Jersey, need some plumber work done, residential or commercial, let us know. See you on the next one. See ya.